welcome to episode 25 of the Dragon's Tome. I am your host, Chopper, and I am joined by the ever-spectaculars Rob. Please wave, Rob. And the ever-spectacular Jack Fike. Please wave, Jack. Yay!
Effervescent. That's what you
I was gonna use effervescence. The effervescing vescent.
It's hard to say effervescent.
Yeah. So here we are again, episode 25. Who would have thought we would have made 25 issues of Dragon Magazine without gouging our eyes out?
Oh, now it's getting good.
Yeah, it's actually starting to get good.
Really?
This one, not so much this one, but
not so much this one.
Okay, because I was going to say that
we're starting to get into the things now that we 79. It's May of 79. We're starting to roll. We're starting to roll in where young Jack and young Rob and young Pat are just starting to figure out their ways in life of D&D and things like that. So
I got another 10 years. Well, yeah, almost 10 years before I
really.
Yeah.
79. Yeah, I wouldn't have even been in kindergarten yet. I don't think.
Yeah, we would have been quite young. I would have been 4. Right. Yeah.
Well, then young Pat is just now figuring his way.
He was already smoking at that point.
Well, I probably, what is that? That puts me at 12? No, 10. Yeah, 10. So 2 more years I'll be smoking.
He's like, yeah.
2 more years I'll be smoking.
Hardcore drugs at that point.
No, it was with the gold Marlboros, Marlboro 100s.
Filterless.
Marlboro. No, those people. My buddy's dad used to smoke those Pall Mall Reds. No filters. All tobacco. Pall Mall Reds and bologna sandwiches. So he was the epitome of health.
Bologna.
All right, so we were getting sidetracked.
Yes, we are getting sidetracked.
I would like to say this cover looks awesome.
This cover does look awesome. This is almost like some kind of weird Black Manta variant.
I did interrupt you. You didn't even say the date or anything. So.
I did. I said May 1979. Remember?
Did you? No, it was so long ago. I don't remember.
I said May 1979. I'll recap. I said May 1979, where young Pat, young Rob, and young Jack are just now finding their way into.
I have no recollection of this conversation.
Oh, Jesus!
I guess this is Gamma World. This picture.
I think this is a Gamma World bad guy. I believe he's probably one of the mutants.
And I believe the artist has added in the code into his bandolier, whoever it was. I think because I can see the date 79, and I can see.
Oh, I bet you that's his name. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know exactly that's what it is, but boy, I remember this cover, and it's a huge step up over most of the ones we've seen.
Yeah, well, I think we were now getting to the part where the art is starting to become a quality. So,
this one's actually, look at all the folds in the cloth. It's awesome, actually.
It's good.
The eyes are a little goofy, but that's the only thing.
If we had to wager, would this be a painting, you think?
I would assume so. What else? There's no Photoshop, or there's no...
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this could be pencils, though. It
could have been chalk, could have been pastels, could have been...
Look at the background, too. The background almost looks like a fractal. Like, that looks like computer generated, doesn't it?
Almost looks like a Photoshop blur. It looks like.
So
but no, again, this is way before. I mean, the Trash 80 is probably the most advanced computer at this point.
It's only because it's text-based.
Yeah. Zork is the game of the century right now. All right, so let's move on. I know we'll just go ahead and default to Rob because we know he wants to talk about the Dragon Rumbles.
That's right. I almost forgot. Dragon Rumbles, Timothy Cask. This one's it's short but sweet. He talks about the rise of specialty mags for all different hobbies and activities. It's like even like things like camping and stuff. Like this is the time when those kind of magazines started. And that's why Dragon exists, he says. But he also goes on to slag Soldier of Fortune, because it's full of gun freaks and violence mongers. And he says role players are generally pacifists in real life.
Yeah, unless you're in the SCA.
And He complains that there's no letters in the letters column, so he's trying to get people to send letters. And he also apologizes to Phoenix Magazine from England since Gygax attacked a U.S. fan mag with the same name.
That was one of my articles because it is funny. The clarification, because it is funny that I wrote down, it says continues to throw shade during a clarification, and yes, it does say that the magazine that he was not referring to is actually worth your time and even readable. So. And we know the scathing review he had given to the Phoenix that he had referred to before. So,
yes, it was quite funny. That's Dragon Rumble. It's a nice short one this time. That's the last short one we'll have for a while, because some of these go on for a while. But
So, Jack, is the clarification really one of your articles?
Let me get the notes from which I am mocked mercilessly for every week, day in and day out. Yes, page 4, bottom right, clarification.
I can't see the notes. Can you raise them up a bit? There we go.
There you go.
Oh, is there a secret message in the back?
No, that's just more. That was one of my. But I can go on to another if.
Oh no.
If it's my turn.
It'll be my turn now. No, you had your one.
Okay, I'm gonna sit this episode out, guys. I'm sorry.
Did you only have one?
No.
I don't want to be a third wheel in the podcast or anything like that.
Listen, was that
Chopper and Rob? They do the thing. It's their
Pat's
job.
World. You just live in it.
That's right. All right. No, just joking. You can go to your article if you want, Jack.
Okay, my second one here. Page 9.
9 in the real life or 9 in the...
I think they match up this time.
They match up on this one, and it's called the Armada Disasters. And not to be confused with the Mantic Games ever popular, ever talked about.
He's trying to get a copy sent to him. That's why he's mentioning
game, Armada, which,
it is very popular.
It is. It's growing in the fan base is.
Do I have to put this is a paid advertisement?
Yeah.
No. But yes, no, this isn't the Mantic Games Armada. It's actually what I think is probably a holdout from Little Wars, and I think we'll see a couple of these still. Because what it is like historical tellings of ship disasters and from Spain and England and things like that. So I found it a good read. It's like from the 1500s, just nautical hijinks and disasters.
Yeah, it was kind of like a little history thing, because I read it too, but I didn't count it as one of my articles. I just thought it was a good read and just kind of left it at that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would have. So I don't know.
I have a question about it though, Jack. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, certainly.
How many DMs just killed their parties in this Armada Disasters? Is that why they're disasters? It's just TPKs? Is that what this is about?
Well, there were some IRL TPKs. If you're, if that's your jam. I don't know.
Do they have stats for the Kraken? I assume it's a Kraken that kills the Armada.
Right? No Kraken, just storms.
No, and
magic storms.
Sir Isaac Drake was a profound user of the dark arts. That is well established. So
that's true.
So that was my article. And speaking of which, when you mentioned Soldier of Fortune magazine, I think even in the 70s, everyone knew that was military fiction. Like I think everyone knew that was like a Tom Clancy novel.
Are you telling me that Soldier of Fortune wasn't the magazine for up and coming mercenaries?
Yeah, no, you didn't hire people from Soldier of Fortune magazine. I think that was known at this point. Maybe it started out where it was actually a real thing, but
or maybe it's still in kayfabe as they wrestling talk. Maybe people thought it was real. Still, it didn't get it didn't have its moment where it got revealed to be fake yet.
Okay, maybe.
I don't know when do you think Soldiers of Fortune started? I would assume it was 70s.
Yeah, I think it was a post Vietnam. Well, no, because Vietnam 72. So yeah, that would have been like we're talking 7 years.
I bet you early
70s.
Early 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, there was all kinds of weird magazines in the 70s, you know, a lot of Kung Fu magazines, a lot of Soldier of Fortune magazines.
Well, that's what he was talking about. But I'm curious, I want to know now, maybe it's like only has like one issue out and it's like...
No, I seem to remember Soldier of Fortune in the grocery rack, in the magazine aisle in the grocery rack. Did that sound right? In the grocery store in the magazine rack.
That giant rack of grocery stores where you could go in and go, hey, I want to go in on Aldi.
75. Soldier of Fortune started in 75.
Okay, so it's been around for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long enough to get a reputation, obviously.
Yes. Scandalous. But, yeah, so I only refer to that because this is but there's some military history in this episode here for the Armada.
For the geeks.
For the nerds. All right.
That's for those nerds who don't like D&D.
That's nerds.
All right. So for my article, let's go back to page 5.
Ooh.
This is a part of Gamma World Revisited by Mr. Ward, our friend who created Metamorphosis Alpha. This little article I thought was a nice little background for Gamma World, since we're just at this point in time, we're just now getting our box sets and really diving into Gamma World. And it's all the different PC sects that you can encounter in the world of Gamma World.
Sex?
Sects.
Rob's on fire today. What got into you? Let's just take a second. Why is Rob all... We were eating candy.
Yep. I was eating lots of candy.
So it goes through all the different groups of survivors and tells how they formed. You know, like the Seekers are a group of bunch of Texans who were survivalists and used all the range skills to survive the Great Disturbance.
Reading magazines.
Yes, exactly. One cool thing about this article too is that they give all the leaders stats so you can see, you know, how powerful they are.
It looks like it's very similar stats to D&D. Is Gamma World use the...
Yes, it's very much almost uses the same stat-wise. There's a few changes. I think that's Constitution. I can't remember. There's something in there that counts your radius. So...
Yeah, MS. I don't know what MS is, but ID.
I can't remember what MS is either.
But it looks like maybe intelligence, dexterity, charisma, constitution, strength.
Yeah. So it's only MS. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, that's a while. We'll have to get a Gamma World book and find out. Yeah, but it goes through all of them. There's quite a few of them, like Iron Society, the radioactivists that created the Knights of Genetic Purity. When I played Gamma World, my GM was very fond of using the Knights of Genetic Purity to come hunt us down.
Obviously.
So, but yeah, nice little background.
I'm a friend of Entropy if I've ever been one.
Did you read it? I think there is an Entropy.
Yeah, Friends of Entropy. That's me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think when we played, I was really the Iron Society.
Is it like Legion of Steel from Fallout?
No. You can be the followers of the voice too. But yeah, that was mine. What's your second argument?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Me? Let's go to page 14.
14.
Let's go,
on a limb. It's the articles or the letters to the editor, I guess it is. Is that what Unlimited is?
Yep.
There's a guy who's very mad at the Lord of the Rings cartoon.
He goes to town on the
for like
on the guy who reviewed the Bashki.
No, this
yeah.
is the first one. This is the guy reviewing it. That's later. Spoilers, Jack. This guy says that Bakshi was a rip-off artist and only did it for the money, and he said it is inaccessible to non-Tolkien fans and has too many unanswered questions. He complains there was no ending, which is true. He said he purposely did it to rip off Tolkien fans. He says it's good animation, and he thanks them for leaving out Tom Bombadil, which I think Peter Jackson took notes. And he says instead of making a poor sequel, they shouldn't bother making any more.
Well, they did make Return of the King.
Did they make
Lord of the Rings stops at the Two Towers, I think.
This is only the first part,
The cartoon, The cartoon stops at the Two Towers. And I think a couple years later, they made the Return of the King all by itself.
Anyways, so far, it's.
Did you? I think if I remember it, the Return of the King uses the same live people cell shading overlays, but the cartoon parts were a different type of animation, so it didn't look like the Lord of the Rings animation.
Those bastards.
Okay, you're talking about the rotoscoped one where they...
That's that he mentions that in this one they do rotoscoping, so it must be in this movie too. I haven't watched these movies since I was probably 5, so
yeah, and I don't ever
all the
remember...
orcs were all rotoscoped in the battles.
Don't remember ever seeing the sequel, but I questioned whether there was or wasn't one.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing a sequel either. But
I seem to remember there being a Return of the King sequel.
Oh,
maybe.
I could be wrong, but I seem to remember.
Well, you probably dreamt it.
Well, but, Mark Cummings
I'm going to look it up.
Mark Cummings, he boycotted that for sure.
Him and his wife. He said his wife, she couldn't figure out who Gollum was and didn't understand why they meant a tree.
It's dense mythology in a world that there's a lot that you have to go in kind of knowing, and I understand you can't say, oh, read the books. The movie should tell you what's going on.
Yeah, 1980 that came out.
A year later, another one came out.
Orson Bean, Roddy McDowell as Samwise Gamgee.
Oh.
It's got more of the Hobbit animation than it did Return to Lord of the Rings. John Hudson was Gandalf. Orson Bean was Frodo. Casey Kasem was Mary Brandebuck. That Casey Kasem, he got around, didn't he?
Yeah, he was Shaggy.
From Scooby-Doo, yeah.
He was Robin in the Super Friends.
He was somebody in G.I. Joe, too, but he boycotted G.I. Joe because there was one of the cartoons had a bad image of a Muslim leader and he comes from I think Middle East background, so he boycotted the show after that. So I forget which character it was he played. I can't remember now.
So the Return of the King was a TV show movie. It didn't come out in the theaters.
So it's like a straight to TV sequel to this.
It was 98 minutes, I think I read just now.
Mm-hmm.
So
so this guy hates Lord of the Rings. I wonder if we'll have somebody respond to him, Jack.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Maybe we'll see him in 1980, in May of 1980, talk about the Return of the King.
Mark Cummings, who blamed Hollywood for using his literary works of J.R.R. Tolkien as a prostitute to make a quick buck. Maybe the sequel will turn him around. Maybe he'll fall in love with the.
The funny thing is, the editor agrees with him and says, "I would have been so nice in a review." So we'll see if the editor backs that up when the other guy comes back to respond. But anyways, that was my second one. I like the letters to the editor because it's like the internet, but in 1979.
Exactly. It's before BBS boards. And all right, Jack, what do you got going?
Well, I do not have another article. I do have an ad, so I'll defer to you until such time as we get to ads.
All right, so let's continue to go down the book to page 18. And my second article is
this
the
was my
real
second article also.
real orc. Please step forward so that we can chit chat about this. I thought it was an okay article. I really did disagree with the breakdown of the genus of this. Like all orcs and goblins and kobolds were all one type of monster to be broken down. I mean,
I disagree with some of the things he thinks they're orcs.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, end of the day, they're all separated into their own species, and they have their own subgenres. Like orcs have their own subgenres. Kobolds, gnolls. I mean, yeah, gnolls. He put gnolls in there, too, didn't he?
He mentioned some, but I don't think he... Yeah.
Yeah, it predates where a lot of fluff starts to make these things in and of themselves. Because I know Tolkien being the base, orcs and goblins weren't the same, but they kind of were. But here, like ogres, why are ogres in the mix? Hobgoblins,
and
kobolds.
Uruk-hai, which he calls great orcs, are from Tolkien too, the Uruk-hai. But the thing is, he says orcs are only 4 foot tall. Even in Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure they were bigger than that. Normal orcs.
Yeah.
And so Uruk-hai is like 6 foot. I'm like, no, Uruk-hai are huge. Like they're like more like 7 foot. And then he has goblins up to 5 feet tall. Goblins are teeny. They shouldn't be 5 feet tall. So he's some weird things.
Can't be the same height as
Lance
Pat.
guy can't do well. Yeah. This Lance guy is very, very
weird. Yeah, it's
weird. I don't know.
I don't solid on what he chooses.
I mean, if you look at his linear tree that he drew, it looks like they all sprout from the same root. But I disagree with that.
Wow. Yeah. But he does it because he wants to find miniatures that equal. Like he thinks that all the miniature companies have gotten them all wrong how they label things.
Well, I will. That was the one thing
about it.
Yeah, there's one thing I did like about that article was the list of model makers. Whether or not he chose them for the right things is another story.
I also find that he calls half orcs man orcs all the time.
Yeah,
it's like it's before half orcs were a thing. Like it's and the
painting tips.
Oh, I was gonna say he doesn't like the pig-faced orc versions either, which was a thing back then.
I don't mind the pig-faced.
Yeah, he has painting tips and everything.
So, I mean, in that sense, the article is cool because you get a little bit of information.
It's very,
but then there's a lot.
Painting guide.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you need a painting guide, you need a painting guide. Some people just need that help. That's always why I say it's okay.
I kind of like, even to this day, if I think of an orc in D&D, I think of the pig face.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do 100%. Me too. So I don't disregard the pig face orc as something that shouldn't be there, you know?
And he also, he says he doesn't like animalistic kobolds, but I always see kobolds as like little animalistic kind of...
Yeah, I thought they were like little dog-looking things.
Yeah.
They used to be like little mangy, parvo dogs, but obviously now, 30 years later, they've become baby dragons. But back then, yeah, little ratty guys.
Yeah.
And he drew a picture based on all the miniature lines too, which is I hope the miniatures look better than this picture. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not overly critical, but
because that one orc's got a huge smile.
Yeah, it's weird.
I like the little guy on the far right, the little guy pulling out a dagger. He looks like a Jawa when his hood fell down.
Who is he? He's front. What's that?
From left to right.
A goblin, I guess. It's a goblin.
But actually, the reason I read the article was because I saw the little tree with the little branches. And I thought, someone took the time to draw a little thing. And I went down, someone obviously sent this in. That's not a professional artist, but someone took the time to send that in. And you know what? For what was probably, depending on his art background, was probably a bit of a challenge to get that quality. I was like, I'm going to read this article because he put some time and energy in.
Well, he did put time and energy in. I kind of like the breakdown of all the different types of orcs, and he tries to give them like even genus names and stuff. It's like,
yeah,
he goes to pretty depth, but I disagree with some of his findings. That's all.
Me too.
I do too. All right, Rob, what is your third article then?
My last article is on page 42. 42? Yes. The varieties of vampires. Because, man, I do love me some international vampires because they're hilarious.
I left that because I thought for sure that one of you guys was going to get that.
So this is a pretty comprehensive list of vampires all over the world, and I've picked a few of my favorites.
Did you pick the Philippine one?
No, because the Philippine one is classic. It's just a head with entrails. Man, everybody loves that. You watch those old 70s kung fu movies where they're fighting the vampires. That's great. So that's a classic. Now I went for the first one is the African one, which is a Asin Bosam, which has books for feet, which I thought was weird. Another one is the Laba Schumann, and by description it sounds exactly like My Pet Monster. Like I was like, wow, they described My Pet Monster. I think that's how you discover this.
Is that the one from Brazil?
Yes, and it also makes women nymphomaniacs. So,
oh,
who knew My Pet Monster turned women into sex fiends? And lastly is the Mula, which is I think Greek. Isn't Mula Greek? No, Serbia. And it likes wine. And to defeat it, you have to get it drunk, which I thought was funny. So that was my quick hit on the vampires of the world. And yeah, some of them obviously you've heard of. Like the one from Serbia, the Voldelac. I can never pronounce it. It's a classic one. Nosferatu, obviously.
I don't see the Chupacabra in here.
This is before Chupacabra. Chupacabra only came out after the movie Species. So if you watch whatever year the movie Species came out, that's when Chupacabra was discovered. Coincidentally.
Really?
Yeah. They think they draw the line. Chupacabra is like the flap of people citing Chupacabras is directly related to the poster from Species in people's.
But not only did you have that fact like on hand, like that was lightning fast. Like you were just like, I'm actually. Let me go into my cryptid
I have a specific
database.
sentence.
You forgot we had just discussed the date of the magazine cover 1 minute after we had discussed the date of the magazine cover. You know when the Chupacabra made its debut in the world.
It's true. I'm a enigma wrapped in a mummy.
In a riddle.
Anyways, I'm done. I'm dumb and I'm done.
All right, so my last article, we go to page 24.
24.
And guess what I found?
Something good, I'm sure.
An artifact use chart for Game World. So I found us another chart.
Yeah, I kind of looked at this one because it was, I liked the little description of how players would just cheat.
Yeah. So I can't remember if this chart makes it into future editions of Game World, but I seem to remember this. Oh, excuse me. This little tech tree kind of decision tree where you can either roll dice or you can kind of spend time and then how much time you put.
It was a circuit board for some great machine.
It's at all. It's a decision tree on how to decipher the artifacts. If you spend time looking at it, trying to research, so figure out how like a gun works or how to make the blender that you found work. Yeah,
I like it. It's like you see this weird smooth machine that has this, I'll just use the computer and I'll type in this. And it's like, no, that's not what it is.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Is if you don't know what a computer is, you're not going to know how to type in that command. So this little chart here allows them to kind of role play or dice roll it in a way. So I do like the idea of role playing it because when you're trying to make something work, you're not going to figure it out in an hour. Yeah. You're going to spend weeks or months trying to figure it out.
So you have to keep rolling till you get through. But it's, they say 13th century knowledge acted in a 20th century manner on a 24th century device, which I thought was a neat way to describe it. Like these people aren't, they're they've gotten regressed with the whole apocalypse. So it's not like you know what you know now,
Exactly. And then what else I liked about this article is you got a nice little map of the USA post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. I was looking at this for a long time, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know the two articles were attached. So when I scrolled down, a map of something, and it was just giving American cities, and I was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? and for the life of me, I couldn't, by the landmass on the map, figure out where I was in relation. So then I was like, oh, this is the Gamma World of which the cover denoted. This is Gamma World.
Yeah.
I find it's funny that it has Hamilton on the map, which is near Toronto, but it doesn't have Buffalo, which is both near where Jack and I live. But I found it odd that Buffalo's gone. So,
well, I think the world would be a better place.
Hamilton,
honestly,
Hamilton's worse than Buffalo. But anyway,
really?
Oh, I think so. And it also shows you where all the different groups are too, which is kind of cool. So you can
the ones we talked about.
Where's my people?
Who are you?
E. Where's E? I can't see an E. H? I don't know where my people live.
No, it's hard to...
It is, once again, I think there's the printing is not 100%. There's a lot... It actually hurts my eyes looking at it, the little hex maps. It's just,
were you looking for which one again?
E.
Or what was the other one?
E.
You said F?
No, I saw F. E. I don't think... Oh, there's E. It's very small. 57. Yeah. What's 57? 57 is Des Moines, Iowa. So that's where death lives. Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Who knew?
That's one of my go-tos for funny place names, so that makes sense.
Not Schenectady? Schenectady?
It's Schenectady.
Anyway.
So, all right. Well, that's my third article. Jack, you had an ad?
I did. Let me get out the paperwork here. We're going to run up to page 22. Real close.
Oh, fancy.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Gen Con.
12.
12?
XII.
Oh my gosh. How far in the future have we traveled since the first Gen Con?
12 years.
So my
math.
My notes here say $10 admission. That's nice. That's a reasonable for admission.
Pre-registration, 15 at the door.
And you get a book that has a coupon for $10 worth from the what would be called the dealer's hall now.
Which is funny because they still do those coupon books, and people obsess about these coupon books.
Yeah.
Like there's lineups to get these coupon books now, which is really weird. Yeah, I've always found it strange. And one time I found one or something. I looked through it. I'm like, there's no good savings in this book.
Some of them are. We can put a good coupon in there for Hellboy.
Well, Pat's been a bunch of times. Rob's been a few times. I've never been. So.
You will.
I might. But yeah. So we are on Gen Con 12. Still in Lake Geneva. We're in
University of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin now. That's what I meant to say. And
it's because the information is the contact is Lake Geneva.
$10.
Yeah, how much is it for a badge now? I've never paid for a badge, so I don't know how much it costs.
$65, I want to say.
For the whole weekend?
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's worth it. I think it's worth it.
But they've got the dealer seminars, they've got the board games and the dungeon. Still people playing dungeon.
I think it's like 30 or 40 per day. And then like 65 or 85 for the weekend.
And then you have to pay for events, obviously, too.
Yes.
But, yeah, dungeon. They have dungeon tournaments and D&D tournaments, which I still don't understand how you can do a D&D tournament.
We're going to have it. I get it. I mean, the way they do it is a little different than I've participated in, but I get it. We're going to have our own dungeon tournament when Jack comes out for Jenga.
You're going to make us play, what is it, Dark Tower?
Return to Dark Tower? Yeah, probably. All right, Rob, do you have any ads?
No, I don't. I found all the ads in this book very similar to every other ad, except for
there were some weird ads, but I did get one, and I wanted to point out was on page 46.
46. We're all over the place. Poor Rob, he's doing the technical. For those of you watching at home, he's the one who's in charge of the page. the pages and the...
Well, it's when they're the same, it's easy because I just type in 46 and it goes to it. It's when I have to find it, I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, no.
So I like to point out the painting competition of $500 to be awarded at Gen Con.
It's pretty good.
You get guidelines to consider off to the right here. It's a whole different thing about different figs and everything. I just thought it was cool that they're actually giving $500. That's a lot of money back in the 70s for a painting competition.
I bet it's more than you get now.
Well, probably.
Do they even have a painting competition at Gen Con? No, at Adepticon it's very big. It's the Golden Demon.
Yeah. And the Brush with Death.
And miniature painting, or miniatures in general at Gen Con it's more role playing, like without miniatures. It's very few miniature things.
There is a painting competition at Gen Con. It's on the second floor.
I've never been there.
Golden Gygax. It's a statuette.
I think they just call it painting competition, but they also have speed painting competitions up there too.
Yes, and Pat. Yes, and.
Well, I was lucky. I was able to get an article in this episode. Never mind. Yes, and I'll take being dismissed outright.
Rob tasked me to keep you in control, so he didn't mess up his clapper.
Okay, well,
messed up my clapper.
We'll just leave that lie.
All right. Does anyone have any other ads or would like to add some more words?
No more words for me. I'm worded out.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so then let's just wrap it up. Yay? Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching me interrupt Jack considerably, being very rude. I do apologize to Jack online. And so
apologize to the Academy, and
I apologize to the Academy, but I don't apologize to Jack because he deserved it.
I will. What he said about his wife.
Yes, I will keep your name out of my mouth.
All right. So for the Dragon's Tome, I've been Chopper.
I'm Jack.
I'm Rob.
And we'll see you next week for episode 26.
26. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.